Sir, YouTube is on live, sir. You can start the work.
So thank you, Anand, for great job. And the moment Dean or Vice Chancellor, anyone join, immediately inform me. So I will, personally, I will invite him. So
Fine, sir.
Bindu has joined. Dr. Bindu.
Yes, sir. I am here, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So Dr. Bindu, yeah.
Yes,
So let me introduce you with Irina, because you will be chairing her session, her program today.
Yes, sir.
So I will introduce Irina later to you different way. But here, Irina, here is a young COVID warrior, a doctor, a proud product of BLD University School of Medicine. So he is also a musician by himself, light classical musician, and extremely well in music, and also performing artist by himself. But his more reputation as a doctor in a COVID front world in last 1.5 years is remarkable. And this is followed by many of our young doctors in these institutions, medical colleges, proud to have the batteries of medical doctors who are all in the hospital when whole world is silent and sleeping. These doctors are actually working in the field. So that's the reason Dr. Bindu, as far his medical commitments, professional commitment, even he's in hospital, you may see his dresses also, and he's a lover of music. So he will be chairing. So here I introduced you with Dr. Bindu. Irina, here is Bindu. You can unmute now. Irina, you can unmute.
Hello, Dr. Bindu. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And thank you so much for doing such a contribution to us as a humanity.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So I think that now another 1 minute, 7:10, we'll start it at the start. So Anand, we are going to start now. The time is 10 minutes late. It is going on, so we should not make it late because other people. The moment principal sir joins, immediately you inform me. Okay. So President of today's function, Dr. R.V. Kulkarni, are you here? You are ready?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Yeah, and the inauguration will be done by Dr. Hamid Mobashiri, and Professor Mobashiri I'm seeing smiling. So he's from UNESCO Unity Network. He's also ready. So with the permission of the President, can I start?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. So good evening, everybody, and very welcome to World Environment Day today, the 5th July 2021. To 5th June 2021. This year, the program has been conducting by Committee for Promotion of Science, Humanities and Research. This is called CPSHR. This is under the umbrella of BLD Association, which is established in 1910, a 11 years old organization. CPSHR is a part of the BLD Association, a brainchild of our president, Honorable President, Dr. M.B. Patil, sir, who is also the Chancellor of BLD University. This is the constitution of the 84 institution from primary school to university, with all the professional colleges like medical, engineering, pharmacy, Ayurveda, and all. So CPSHR is committed to promote the science, including ethical part of the science, humanities that include the culture, and also arts, fine arts, performing arts, and the research itself in all the periphery and zone as BLD Association belongs to. It has multiple institutions, colleges, apart from the professional institutions. This will be this year it is connected with the UNESCO Unity Network. So I had a talk with personally to UNESCO Unity chairperson, the UNESCO Chair of Life Science, Dr. Seneric Iripetian, and Dr. Iripetian told that he has certain other commitments. So he asked me that let us Dr. Hamid Mobashiri, the UNESCO Unitarian Coordinator from University of Tehran, and my good colleague, for long-standing colleague and a renowned biophysicist, will inaugurate the program on behalf of the UNESCO. So it is endorsed by the UNESCO on my behalf, as I am also the chair, Dean of Environmental Health and UNESCO Advisor for Unitarian program. Same, but my colleague and my esteemed colleague and my good friend, Dr. Hamid Mubashiri, will actually do this. So first of all, I welcome Dr. President of our program, that is Dr. R.V. Kulkarni, who is the executive member of Committee for Promotion of Science, Humanitarian Research, and Chief Administrative Officer of BLD Association, and Vice Principal and Professor of Pharmaceutical Technologies, BLD Pharmacy College. Welcome, Doctor. Welcome to you, Dr. R.V. Kulkarni.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Next, I welcome today's inaugural program will be done by none other than UNESCO representative, Dr. Hamid Mobashiri from University of Tehran. Dr. Mobashiri, Professor Mobashiri, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's very kind of you, and it's my pleasure to be among you. And it was very kind of you, Professor Dos, for your invitation, and also Dr. Bindu. I'm sorry that I might not be able to pronounce the Indian name properly.
No problem.
So I'm sorry, but I'm quite pleased to be among you in this very important matter, environmental matter, that all of human being, and not only human being, but all the creatures, living systems on the globe are somehow dealing with the matter. And to be honest, we have to take care of every living system, not only human being alone, because it is a systematic system. It is a network of the all sort of communications and interaction between all the living systems, living organisms on the globe. And we are fortunate to have them. It's our somehow it's a gifted present to us to live with other living systems on the globe. The thing is that you know that NASA has tried a lot to find another place in case globe was not okay for some reason, attacking, say, astronauts or whatever to Earth might make it difficult to live on, as well as the pollution. So they were looking for some alternative to find out whether there is a place in the solar system. And they even went far away from the solar system to find out whether there is a place. As far as I know, you might have heard of, they couldn't find the place even as bad as the most buried place on the earth. There is no place they have found that look like, say, a desert with very high temperature, and neither a place like North Pole where it's so cold but it's still on unmanned land. They couldn't find anything close to this condition at all. So this shows that all of us on this boat, sharing somehow a boat, that our survival very much is dependent on the condition of it. So environment is very important, and it is very sad that we or some people are trying to make a hole in this very boat. Some by looking after their own business for the sake of money, for the selling the cars, for example, or some industrial products, without considering the side effects and harmful of it on the whole boat. In some case, they don't realize that they are one of the passengers of this very boat. And as soon as it sank, not only themselves, but their children and others will be affected too. And this is, you all know, I just want to remind you the pollution that comes from the fossil fuel. I am from Iran. I know that the fossil fuel has done lots of damage to the globe, the global warming, as well as the pollution, and we have to do something about it. The electromagnetic field pollution has caused lots of damages, And this telecommunication system that is revealed by the 4G, 5G, earlier 3G, as a biophysicist, I have checked their effects at single molecule level in my own lab. And I have noticed that 914 megahertz, the signals that is irradiated, but every cell phone can make a single channel close. These single channels, you know, that are responsible for single signal transduction in the brain and muscles. And once this is shut down, we can expect that nerve nor the muscle won't activate properly, not action properly, not be functional anymore. We have lots of effect on the fetus and the pregnant ladies. And because there are lots of stem cells are active in them and are very susceptible to environmental field. And as a biophysicist, I believe that the chemistry makes a platform for living system and the physics makes it alive. And this very physics at very high frequency will be affected by the environmental electromagnetic field. So what we are doing actually, we are damaging ourselves, we are damaging the plants. The very physics is active in plants as well. The very system is active in all the living system on the globe. So as soon as we change the environment and this ecosystem will be affected sooner or later. So as a member of the UNESCO network, one of our aim is to gather all the people around the world, a dedicated one and devoted one, to think of this very boat and to work jointly in order to save the globe, irrespective of the losing the technology that we might be facing. It's not matter if we use the land instead of the wireless. It is not important if we say go back somehow to some preliminary system, but with no side effects. So with that, I just don't want to take your time. I know that you're quite aware of the situation that we are facing. One sentence is that we are not living in as we are. I mean, every individual of us is not in our functional state as long as we are exposed to electromagnetic, to sound, or to other environmental hazardous sources. We think we are normal, we think we are thinking properly, we think we are enjoying our life, but actually we are far away from what we have to, we should be, and we have to enjoy ourselves much better than what we are at the moment. So with that, I just thank you again and thank Ms. Irina Milakovic. And I'm glad to see that a very young person is lecturer today. So the very energetic person is quite vital to activate the youngsters who are in favor of all these cell phones, tablets, computers. They think that they are the best. So she is quite, in the best place, in right time person to somehow draw their attention to side effects that these things are doing to the very boat. So with that, I finish here and I thank you again and looking forward to listening to lecture and other opinions of the scholars in this session. Thank you very much indeed and enjoy your talk as much as I will do. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Professor Mubashiri. It's an excellent introduction and the inauguration of the program in befitting way. And I'm very honored here that today I will introduce with you also and Irina, both of you, that two distinguished guests have joined. First one is our former Vice Chancellor, Dr. B.G. Mulimuni sir. Professor B.G. Mulimuni sir is a physicist by himself in reputation. He's my mentor also, and is a very well-known scientist himself, did PhD from McGill University, Canada in physics, and he is an outstanding person. And I think that most of our university faculty members, senior faculties are mentored by sir. Sir, Professor B.G. Mulimuni sir, you are welcome here, sir. Thank you very much for your gracious presence, sir. Pranam, sir. And Next to said our Honorable Dean of Faculty of Medicine, a very young and dynamic principal. He's a surgeon, Dr. Arvind B. Patil. Dr. Arvind B. Patil, our Dean Faculty, respected Dean of Faculty, are you here? Respected Dean of Faculty, are you here?
I am here, sir.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
Yeah, yes, Doctor. I just introduced with you, Doctor.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Hamid Mubashiri
No,
from.
sir, I have joined, sir. I have joined.
No,
I heard, sir.
I know. I got the message,
Yes,
and
sir.
he was just inaugurating the programs on behalf of
Yes,
the
sir.
UNESCO. He inaugurated the program,
Yes,
and
sir.
I've given initially. And here is Dr. Here is Irina Mihalkovich, a young Indian classical dancer, being a Belarusian and daughter of a doctor, so multi-talented. He was earlier a UNESCO scholar. Now he's an ICCR scholar at Kannada Kalamandalam deemed to be university. She is also here. So after that, these two introductions and inauguration, and with the permission of the president, I will just request to Dr. Bindu Madhav to start the original program, that is the talk of the speech or deliberation of Irina Mihalkovich. Over to Bindu Madhav. Dr. Bindu Madhav, now it is your turn.
Namaste all. Namaste everyone.
Namaste.
I would like to introduce our guest of honor, Miss Irina Mihalkovich. Miss Irina Mihalkovich, she is an Indian classical dancer, ICCR scholar, Kerala Kalamandalam, Thrissur. Irina is a director, choreographer, performing artist, and a model born and raised in Belarus. Having completed her degree in international relations in Minsk, Belarus, she went on to dance performance studies in Kerala Kalamandalam, deemed to be University for Arts and Culture, India, with a scholarship from Indian Council of Cultural Research, ICCR. Her life and work in India, including collaborations with filmmakers and installation and visual artists, gave her a unique vision on expression of emotions, personal and collective stories through the confluence of an array of mediums and art forms. She is also a recipient of UNESCO Scholarship for Cultural Resources. Her first feature film, middle length, Devdasi, is in post-production and looks into the complex phenomena of Indian temple dances through the eyes and personal drama of an outsider. Her short film, He, She and Their Ghosts, 2020, is her first film work which experiments with the change the perspective of filmmaking, where she juxtaposes the impartial observer to the point of view of a performer as a spontaneous co-creator of reality. The Red Dress in 2021 is a dance film work in progress which combines the elements of dance, drama, and movement specific sound design. Shadow Dance 2020 is an art video work which combines Indian classical dance Mohiniyattam with traditional shadow puppetry Tolopavakuttu in an attempt to enhance the gesture, mime, and rhythm-oriented narrative of Indian classical dance with the puppet theater of inspiring storytelling techniques. Her acted movie Small Scale Societies, directed by Vipin Vijay, wins National Award from Government of India under short film category. So here I introduce Miss Irina Mihalkovich. Thanks so much, madam, for joining.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Bindu, Dr. Kushal, Dr. Hamid, everyone else. It is a big pleasure to be here today. It's already the second time I'm invited by Dr. Kushal, and this is really, really sweet, and I'm really grateful to him for that. And today is a very special day. It's a day of the environment, and I think we don't need to actually to be much, most of us don't need to be educated to know that we are, as a humanity, in a big trouble. We are in a big trouble, and most of people know it, but probably we kind of think it's some future which probably can be delayed or postponed, so maybe it will not affect us and our children. But unfortunately, I think there is the effects of our influence on the environment might come much faster than we think. Maybe my generation will see that. And whatever Dr. Hamid said, that so far the astrophysicists haven't been able to find a single planet which would be at least close to the least inhabitable parts on the planet Earth. It means a lot. So our planet is a very, very unique life in itself. And how many processes of physical, biological origin for many, many millions of years, they resulted in creation of such ecosystem that we have now. If we understand how rare of a gem it is, if we internalize it, not only understand, but act on it, I think this is the only solution we have to preserve this planet for humanity. Or if we don't preserve it for humanity, I remember when in the 90s, because I'm coming from the former Soviet Union, so after the Soviet Union broke down, there were new TV channels emerging, and we didn't have a concept of advertisements. So first advertisements that appeared, they were of Ariel soap and Greenpeace. So the most fastest advertisers. And so I remember one Greenpeace advertisement. Until now, I was a kid when I was watching it. And it said that life will exist even after the nuclear explosion on the planet. But only more advanced creatures will be taking pleasure in it. And then they're showing a big cockroach. So in this way, cockroach is more advanced than us. Why? Because they're not feeling like they're gods that needs to alter their environment around them. They live within the system. They coexist. And if we want to take pleasure in being alive as a species, we also need to coexist and not be the ones who think the world exists around us. Okay, so I will slowly go to my presentation. I created a small presentation today. And just one small correction I would like to make. Thank you so much for presenting me. Everything was correct. Just one thing, I did not receive UNESCO scholarship. Maybe I will in the future, thank you. But at this stage, I haven't received such, but I would be honored too if there is such opportunity. But the rest is all correct. Yes, I was an ICCR scholar and I graduated with ICCR scholarship, and all the film works that are in process are also correct. So thank you so much. So I'm going to share the screen now. Okay, share together with the sound. I hope you will be able both to see me and see the screen. 1 second. Then I need to play it somehow. Something is, 1 second.
Just it need a zoom, the full screen. Presentation mode.
Something.
Yeah, it is coming, I think. Yeah,
it's coming. Oh, okay, I needed the permission. Okay. Also, I want to tell everyone I'm little bit.
Not yet come. Not yet.
Okay.
No, it has not come. Is there any problem, Anand?
Nothing, sir. Madam has to make it as a full slide, sir.
Well, full screen, but she tried, but it is again vanish and come back to the slide only. Again in the presentation mode, full screen, you just click. Irina, is she available or she disconnected?
I will stop the sharing, sir. Let Madam join.
Yes.
Share.
She has sent me that message that just 1 second.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Hello, you are not there? Yeah, it is okay now? Okay, just to try the normal, don't need to make Zoom in that case. Okay, okay.
Something happened with the camera. Hello, hello.
Yes, I remember.
Okay. Okay, now I think it will come. 1 second. Something. Actually, my laptop is not doing good. So I think it's my problem. Technology fails us. That's the problem. We rely so much on it, but it fails us. Okay, let me try to share again. At least one more attempt. Share screen. Share. I'll just share normal screen, right? Let's
just go
that.
for normal screen.
Yeah, normal screen, not the Google. Yeah. And then I will start.
Okay, it is okay now. But
now it's normal, yeah? Okay.
Normal. This is normal screen.
Great, super.
It has come now. Okay, right. Good.
Yes. Okay, so what do we have here? We have art and the intangible conduit between humans and nature. And you see me there, one of my first modeling works, in a traditional Belarusian costume in the fields. With the horse and with flowers. Actually, the kind of flower crown I'm wearing here is corresponding to the tradition that we have in the midsummer. And it's specific to many European countries, especially Eastern Europe and even Northern Europe tradition. Maybe some of you have seen even the film Midsummer. It was a very famous film, but it was a horror folk film. So I haven't witnessed the horror elements of our pagan ancestry, but as children, I remember I would spend days in my grandmother's village, and she would make big, beautiful flower crowns for us, and we would spend nights jumping over the flower. And then this flower crown we would either put on the water and it would sail into the direction from where our future husband was supposed to come from, or she would put it on the cabbage. She had a little farm on the cabbage, and it was supposed to make the cabbage grow bigger. So this kind of very specific rituals that we still preserve, but mostly in rural areas in Europe, and as well as many other cities, they are very closely related to nature. And for some reason in the cities, they didn't get preserved. Well, not for some reason. The reason is obvious, that urban life has separated us from nature. Okay, so I will talk a little bit more about these rituals because they are very much related to the art as well, folk arts. So one of the rituals that was celebrated in Slavic regions such as Belarus, Ukraine, and Russia is called the calling of spring, or calling for spring. Was performed in the early March. The snow was starting to melt, and at that time, girls, women of the household would try to climb up. They go to the roofs or to the hilltops, and they would sing special songs calling for spring. I'm coming from a city. I spend a lot of time in the summers at my grandma's village, but otherwise I was growing up in the city, so I haven't witnessed that. But before this presentation, I talked to one friend of mine who grew up in the village, and he shared one spring calling song, which they as children used to do. And I will even sing it for you. So it's Жавороночки, прилетите, теплолетика, прилетите, а зимочку приберите, бо зимочка надоела, нам хлебушек переела. And that's what we sang again and again and again, repeated many, many times. And the meaning is, the birds, the crane birds, please come. Cranes are the migratory birds, so they fly away probably to India for the winter, because the winters in Russia, Belarus are really hard. Only some birds, some special winter birds can survive. And they can come back sometime in the mid-spring, closer to the summer. So people actually, by observing birds, could identify the change of the season without even having proper calendars or smartphones to remind them which day of the year it is. And so the meaning of the song is, cranes, do come back and bring us the warm summer, warm spring. And please take the dear winter away, because we are already tired of the winter. It ate all our bread. So what is winter? Winter is something when we are finishing everything we have harvested throughout the summer and early autumn. And this is a time of reflection. This is a time of maybe consumption, at the same time of preserving something. So we are not indulgent, we are not going in excess. We are living in a very modest way, waiting for the new harvest to come. So the way these natural seasons were worshipped, were respected, even here in the song, they're saying, please take the winter, dear winter, away. It's still addressed with affection. It's still addressed with respect. So every manifestation of nature was considered to be sacred. And so people would be doing the winter banishing rituals, like sweeping the dirt out of the house, knocking on the doors and walls, creating some noise. I think you have similar rituals in Kerala as well, making lots of noise. And that was symbolizing kicking the winter out and burning the old clothes, the unwearable old clothes. What do we have here? Here we have little cranes being made by children. So I remember we used to bake those as well with mom. Like, you'll see how they look. So you make these small birds out of the dough, then put them into the oven, and you get this kind of cranes. So yes, as I already said, cranes are symbols of migratory birds that come bringing the spring. So mothers would bake these cranes and give to children. And what do children do with them? It's still early spring, the winter has not left, it's still snowy, and they carry these cranes on sticks, try also to climb high on the trees, put them as high as possible, and then take the heads off and throw them into these birds, trying to kick them down. They believe that cranes will see it and come. Later, of course, kids would eat half of this bread, half they would give back to children and to parents, and parents would place it in the area where they store grain. This was believed to enhance the harvest in the next season. So this kind of very beautiful rituals that are coming from the folklore and reflected in the folk art. So what is folklore? If we talk about folklore, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a traditional customs, tales, sayings, dances, or art forms preserved among people. So folklore is a form of art. We can say the art of less civilized world, but as we will later see, more organic, more holistic world as well. So folklore manifests in symbolic rituals which recognized humans' dependency on nature. So this is a very crucial point here, that humans recognized how much they are dependent on nature. They're not trying to conquer it. They're not trying to say that nature owes us something. No, it was recognition of us being under the nature and looking for its favor. And this is actually so beautiful and so humble. I find that people who were so close to nature were not treating it parasitically, but rather were trying to live with it in harmony. And this reflected in the way they spoke, in the way they narrated their fairy tales, in the way they were singing their songs, in the way they were dancing their dances. So humans were asking nature for protection through these art forms. Okay, what is coming inevitably? Inevitably is coming the separation from the nature. I was reading up a couple of articles, and it was saying that separation of nature was related to dominance of monotheistic practices such as Judeo-Christianity, for example. Because if we're talking about pagan cultures, which existed before, they were living with, as I already said, each natural element sacred. Like everything was a spirit. There was a tree, there was a spirit inside the tree. Before cutting it, you had to pacify the spirit. So you had to talk with it, you had to worship it, ask it for forgiveness. So of course, with this attitude, you couldn't cut the entire forest down because you would spend maybe entire months asking for forgiveness from the spirit. So everything was done in with a sense of cause and effect. So we wouldn't do it, we humans at that time, unless it was absolutely necessary. So religious interpretations of Judaism and Christianity put human in the center of nature. That's the very unfortunate interpretation that happened with Judeo-Christian traditions. So humanity became kind of chosen by God. God chose us as species as its favorite. And we were no longer the elements of nature, we were the kings of nature. And animism or worshipping of nature that was by pagans was destroyed, and that opened the door to natural exploitation. Was it destroyed? Yes, it was, and it is continued to be so. However, the pagan culture, if we see even in many rituals preserved in many countries across the world, not only Slavic, not only Indian, they're still there. They're still in us. But the main focus of humanity came to seeing us as the center of the universe, and everything around should serve us. What does this presumption give? So here we have the pyramid of monotheism. So God is beyond everything. Below God is human. So human is like a cardinal, right, of God. And below human is what? Animals, plants, lands, resources. So basically use and be happy. And the biggest problem, another literate interpretation that people made from the Bible, for example, is where it says that God says procreate and multiply. Maybe it was relevant at that time, but we took it too literally for too long, and we honestly need to revision these monotheistic principles. No longer we need to multiply as humanity. We need to a little bit become more compact, not a little bit, drastically become compact. Okay, but to be fair on Christianity, not to be too strict, they were revolutionary thinkers in monotheistic spirituality, such as Saint Francis, and we see his picture here with birds, and I don't know if you consider also animals around him. So he tried to change this dogma of ruling over nature by divine equilibrium. So he was believing it's not about dominating, it's about coexisting, it's about co-living. And he wrote a lot of work on this subject, but unfortunately his ideas never became dominant. But the ideas of exploitation continue to be dominant. And unfortunately, modern science and technologies inherited this sense of entitlement where it serves human alone. Even recently, I read on the news some news that Bill Gates, I think, genetically modified mosquitoes to kind of limit their reproduction, to kind of limit malaria in some areas. And my first opinion was, I was shocked. Who does he think he is, Bill Gates? Like, how? Excuse me, you are not God to genetically to decide which species needs to be more, which should be less. And yes, it serves us humans. There will be less malaria, but you don't know how will it resonate, because everything is a butterfly effect. You change the small thing in ecosystem, the smallest thing, and everything, you know, like there's like a house made of the cards. Everything starts just falling down. So I don't know why the people who are at the top, who are rich enough, influential enough, why don't they realize it? Why do we realize it and they don't realize it? And why they think that they do something exceptional and they're going to be remembered in forever, maybe as heroes written in the history? That's a very unfortunate thing. Okay. Yes, this is very lovely, right? All of us would want to appear here, but unfortunately, most of us live here. So how did we transition from the beautiful forest, from the land of abundance, into the jungle of stones, into the place where I can hardly see a tree, where we are all in our cell phones, where we don't look in each other's eyes? And as also Dr. Hamid was saying, we don't know, we know already, but we don't know to full extent how this technology influences us, right? So personally, I consider myself a highly sensitive person and an introvert. So most of my friends already used to me sometimes wanting just to hide from socializing and like being on the shy side, even though I'm an artist. Yes, it's a big challenge. I'm constantly fighting with my own intrinsic shyness. It never goes away. I'm just dealing with it. But I'm also a highly sensitive person, and I've been like this from childhood. I can feel the weather changes. I can't wear wool because it itches so much. So loud sounds, they make me like uneasy. Bright lights, even now I'm using this white kind of light because of our Zoom meeting, but usually I use only yellow light just because this white light irritates me. So I'm sensitive to all these things. And I want to say that I feel, of course, I'm also like everyone here, I'm addicted to my cell phone as well. So, but I feel after spending half an hour on this thing nonstop, I can feel my brain frequency is working on a different level, and I don't need an MRI for that. It just becomes like there is a different thing happening in my head and I can't explain, and it becomes very distressing. It's a very distressing state. It's not a harmonious state, which I would feel when I, for example, go to the nature, when I go to this forest, if you can see, right? After spending half an hour in this forest, I heal. After spending half an hour on the screen, I become ill. So what is wrong, and how can do we have to step back? This is a question to all you scientists and doctors, because I don't think we can step back. I don't think technology can ever be taken away from us. We are too much dependent on it. But how to find this balance so we use the comforts of the technologies that we have without losing ourselves? Okay. Yes, not to become the zombies I showed in the previous picture. So a little bit optimistic note. We have here Erich Fromm, one of the greater thinkers of the 20th century, the philosopher, German philosopher, who came up with the concept of biophilia, which is a love for nature, the innate tendency of humans to seek connection with nature. So what he says, for the most part, biophiliacs, lovers of life, are found among simple people without pretensions. Once again, we go back to folk traditions, to simple village people, right? So, yes. And what is biophilia in simple terms? Most of you probably who live in the cities at least have a plant at home. Maybe somebody has a pet, maybe has a cat or a dog. And at least once in a while, when you have on the weekend, you will go to the park or to the river. So why do you do that? Even though you have the most comfortable home with air conditioner and with food delivery, like why do we keep returning to this simplicity without pretensions, which nature is? Which nature is? This is what Eric Fromm was calling biophilia, because inside we cannot lose this inner longing we have for natural connection. We can't. And if we talk about our mental state and our health condition, it's been already proved that exposing yourself to nature actually restores you, helps you to restore. So what do we have here? Okay, biophilia in life and art. So yes, tomb paintings from ancient Egypt, as well as remains found in the ruins of Pompeii, substantiate that people brought plants into their houses and gardens more than 2,000 years ago. And at that time, they were not suffering as much as us, right? So they were still surrounded by nature, but even then, they wanted to bring this wilderness into their houses. So scientifically, it's been proven that nature activates unconscious primordial mechanisms which restore and revive, even without humans' conscious effort or focus on it. So if we go out to the garden, we don't even have to make an effort. I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna look at this plant because I need to get the peace of mind. We even don't need it. You just need to be around, surrounded by nature. And it does its healing on its own. And that's a magical power that this environment, the natural environment has. It embraces you. We are the prodigal children of technology, of civilization, but nature never ceases to embrace us once again as its dear children and help us revive, restore, reconnect, and refine ourselves. We even have a branch of thinking called ecopsychology, which talks about ecological unconsciousness, a regenerated, enhanced sense of the world. I want to share some of my experience, and if somebody had the same, I would like to hear from you as well. As a kid, I was, like probably all of us as children, were very much connected to the world around me. Like, you know, you could sit, just look at the piece of grass and find all the small veins in the piece of grass or sparkle of the morning dew. You look at this insect crawling and the shine on the wings of the butterfly. And this world was a universe in itself. And that was enough just to keep the sense of awe that was kind of driving you, the curiosity for life, the wonder for life. So this I had more or less, I think, until I was maybe a teenager. And I remember when I started becoming a teenager, of course, you need to fit in. You need to be more normal, more standard, more regular. Then you're accepted by society. But I remember that I was consciously stepping out from this magical realism, which I found in connection with nature, into the society. And once I returned and I tried to check if I still have it, and yes, I had it. And then I went fully trying to be sociable, trying to be human. And to tell the truth, now it's harder and harder to find this awe, to find this inspiration, because I need to consciously put myself into the state of mind of finding miracles around me. It's not easy to be chronically disturbed. And that is what the modern world makes with us. It makes us chronically disturbed. Okay, unconscious in arts. Art is a door to deep emotions. Art as a medium to carry beyond conscience perceptions, both for artists and the audience. So here I'm connecting the eco-psychology to art, because eco-psychology operates with the idea of unconscious perception of nature, which creates a sense of spontaneity or the wonder and miracle of living. The art does the same. So we as artists, and here many doctors are artists, and or somebody who chose art as full-time profession like me, we all know the concept of muse, the concept of when something just comes onto you and you can't explain it rationally. Of course, different artists have different ways to work, and some are more on the rational side, some are more on chaotic side. But even those who are more on rational side, they have these moments of trance where just ideas come and kind of start fixing itself as pieces of puzzle into the picture and helping you to create the work of art or generate the idea of art. So we work on this level of unconscious, level of wilderness, level before rationality, before us humans as rational humans. So we return to this primordial state where chaos, seeming chaos, creates something beautiful. And here I would like to talk, yes, because we get this feeling both as artists and as the audience. Probably a lot of us witnessed, for example, coming to the museum, looking at the painting and getting goosebumps, or listening to a song, some Indian raga, and just flying away. So here I really like in the Indian classical art tradition the concept of rasa, right? It's given by Natya Shastra, the treatise of performing arts. So rasa is what? Delivering the primary aesthetical sentiment to the audience, making them feel the emotion. So this unconscious, spontaneous creativity that the author, the artist feels, transforms into the audience. And this is the beautiful thing about it, that we are connected more than just on some rational level. Again, we are connected by some really wild, really old, ancient, unconscious mechanism as humanity. And personally, I, as an artist, I think this can be the key of the salvation of the ecosystem and us humans returning to saving the environment. Return to folk arts and their inspiration, folk songs, field songs, yes. So finding how therapeutic is the idea of how therapeutic is the connection with nature. Nowadays, many artists and many researchers, they return to folk traditions, and would be very useful also to you fellow doctors. I will tell you a couple of situations, not situations, how to say, well, how it was practiced in old times in the folk traditions. So of course, nobody had psychotherapy at that time. People just dealt with their negative emotions, frustrations, mostly because of the strong community, because there was really great support for each other, but also closeness to nature. And even recently, what I have done once, because being a sensitive person, I very commonly feel very overwhelmed, like to the point that I feel incapacitated to talk to other people just because I get overwhelmed. So once I felt like this, and I was with a friend of mine, and we went here to the paddy rice field, And then I remembered, oh my gosh, yes, I remember I was reading about this old traditional folk practice when the girls would come out to the fields and they would just stand there and scream, and very loudly they will scream into the distance, emptying out their lungs. And this later, actually, very interestingly, transformed into our traditional field songs. So there were songs that had lots of this kind of so this kind of almost screaming element, but it helped people to let go of all the emotions, stress, to recover from the death of the dear one, of the separation. That was once again reconnecting, refinding, and very interesting that psychology, the eco-psychology, starts looking into these folk artistic practices as a way to work with patients, not only through medications and traditional psychoanalysis, but through these unconscious mechanisms, right? Okay, what else is art? It is metaphorical thinking. We find it a lot in arts. Metaphorical thinking sends back to natural images commonly, and it is rooted in the evolutionary history of the human species, originating in eras when people lived in much closer contact with nature than most do today. Yes, but still it's very much present in our language. It's present in our arts, in classical arts, folk arts, even modern arts. But I want to talk here about Indian classical arts, and in a moment I'll start this video. So in Indian classical arts, you know, in Indian classical dance, we use a lot of mudras, the hand gestures, to show the meaning of the story, to convey the story. And very interesting, even I found some kind of correlations. Like, for example, this is the mudra, meaning a flower, the plant. So the plant is growing. On the other hand, this mudra, it is like weakness. So you see the plant, which is kind of dying. So we're showing the same mudra, but one thing represents actually the plant, the growing ivy or the creeper, and the other one shows an emotion. Another very interesting metaphor, very commonly used in Indian classical dance, is the idea of Virahan. Viraha is a sadness, it's melancholy, it's extreme form of melancholy. And very often it's translated as the sea of sadness, the ocean of sadness. Very often we show it like this. So this is the sea of sadness. So the waters are churning. So artists still think in this, especially these old art forms, they think in the categories which connect us to nature, which relate everything that we feel. Like we feel a storm inside us. We feel the, I don't know, the shower of love. So all these metaphors, they're abundant in art. And this once again proves that we are inseparable, and we are not gods of nature, but we are dependent on it. We are its children. And actually deep down inside, after we break our ego and after we become more humble, we just want to return into its embrace again as children, and just to be accepted and stop being as entitled as we usually are. So this work I want to show you is the one I did. It is a personal work, and I did it when the first lockdown happened. I was just very sad and depressed. It's just everybody. But I was doing a lot of creative things, and I put a camera on the tripod and recorded myself dancing, and I kind of liked it. And it's not my best performance, but I was like, okay, it's a very long item. It's 25 minutes Varnam, Dani Samajendra. It talks about suffering of a heroine abandoned by Lord Vishnu in the form of Padmanabha. But then I looked at it and I'm like, something is missing. Like, there is a dance, yeah, right. But then I was thinking, how could I enhance it? And at that time, I was also practicing the Indian puppetry, Tolpavakutu, which means the leather puppet. And I felt like layering over one on top of the other and trying to bring out more imagery and more sensory feelings through that. And apart from this leather puppets, what is interesting, we also used a lot of natural elements such as these trees, and you will be able to see in a minute. I'll just show you, and I think you can judge for yourself. Just 1 second. I'm starting, yeah? Yeah. Yes, so here I'm saying that the full video will be released on YouTube, and yeah, now I'll stop sharing. And everyone is welcome to follow my channel. It's Irina Mohini. You will be able to see, and it's a very exciting work for me because it's completely self-funded. I didn't have any sponsor for this work, and completely self-made with the help, in a collaboration with the puppeteers, local traditional puppeteers that for centuries have been doing it. At least 900 years, I think they've been doing this. Tolpavakutu. So it's a 25-minute item, and yes, it's full of nature, and that's what I loved about it, because what I feel sometimes Indian classical art forms in its modern interpretation, they became too much of a stage art form. So they're placed in the stage format, and that's it. And they rely only on the knowledge of mudras, on the knowledge of the stories. But I decided to bring it more to the folk tradition, through the folk art form, Tolpavakutu, through adding natural elements, through adding natural sounds. And in my opinion, it worked very nicely. It created completely different storytelling maneuver within the classical art form, which I love and I really appreciate. Yeah, so I will finish here. I think I'm already past my time as well. And thank you so much for listening. And I hope I managed to to convey my message. And I was a little bit jumpy, especially this technical issue, a little bit messed up with my head. But yes, but what I want to say from myself, just seek love. Because love is nature. Love is not our mobile phones. Love is not internet. This is all the replications, the sublimates, the substitute, but it's not the real one. Real love is always raw, unaltered. It is what it is. It is given to us, and we just need to take it, as simple as that, without trying to change it, to damage it, or to show our superiority to that. Just be humble and love.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Irina. I will over to Dr. Bindu for his chair remarks.
Thank you so much, madam. I am actually impressed by two things which were very new to me. I'm very much impressed by one of the pictures you have shown, of which one of it was totally greenery and the other half was only buildings containing us and us. And the second one was the puppet show along with your dance. I have never seen such dance, and which will obviously help us to nurture the thought of going along with the environment and building it up than destroying it. And now I would like to thank Miss Arina madam for the wonderful talk. As we all know that we are going through this COVID phase, hope that we have all realized the importance of oxygen and trees, which are the sole source of oxygen. Let us plant more trees and chop less trees and make our planet better. Please stay safe. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to hand over the mic to Dr. Kushal Das, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Bindu Madhav. You have correctly explained, as you are an artist yourself, so you understand in a different way, although you being a doctor. So it's a great that you have taken time to be here, and in this situation of COVID, even in the front line as a physician, you are still able to manage to time for this cultural, because UNESCO's perspective and a CPSHR objective, as our president, Dr. M.B. Patil sir, has focused and clearly said that it should prosperity with the humanity. Very clearly, he has told me specifically when I took over the charge as a chairman of CPSHR, he told, let the humanity spread all over the Singapore. So in that perspective, the talk is definitely correct and appropriate, I think. Right. And now I think the time has come that some questions he may take that can take certain questions, and let me see that one. I will first invite, the inauguration has been done by Dr. Professor Hamid Mubashiri. Professor Mubashiri, UNESCO representative from University of Tehran. Professor Hamid, you please go ahead with the short questions to Irina.
Okay, thank you very much, Irina. It was great and very beautiful, very deep understanding of yours of the situation and importance of art. What that unfortunately, because of the lack of communication between human being and nature, has disappeared. Because as soon as this connection is started, you can see that they can copy the birds. You very nicely mentioned love, and all you can see in the nature is love. When it is a time of mating, when it is time of the spring, when it is time of the having good food, whatever it is, you can see that they are somehow they are so intelligent, and this is what that human being is missing now, and is decayed in human being. We are proud of having technology, but actually most of people are losing their intelligence because they are relying on information that is directed one way only, and they are not contributing, and their mind is not as active as the ones who are in nature. You can see that for example, these Indonesians, the people who are in nature, they copy everything that they see in the nature. They copy the birds, they copy the sun, they copy the trees, and they are alive. The quality of life is what they are doing. We are not, I mean, in the industrial section, we are not living a life at all. There are people who are present in luxurious apartments, away from all sort of the beautiful nature, and they are trapped under the exposure of the electromagnetic field. From some time to time, they can sense that it is so harmful. You all might have sensed it. As soon as the power line goes off, you feel ever so relaxed while you are not plugged in electricity. But you see ever so relaxed you are, and that is only 50 hertz. When it comes to a high frequency one, there are things that we don't know until we go to some area where there is no antenna. Then we can feel that how different we are at that time compared when we are exposed to electromagnetic field. So in one word, we are just doing artificial life. This is not a real life at all. And that's very sad. We are gifted, just say it's, the people say 80 years old, but I believe that the only quality life of every person is just between possibly 18 to 30 years old. So the rest is becoming mature and then going, losing some capabilities. So we are losing that very time, very precious, very golden time that are given to us once forever. In 100 million years time, possibly, we just were gifted once and we are losing that. Unfortunately, human being has destroyed what that nature made in 100 million years, in 100 years time. And that's very sad. We made loss of distinction in plants, in animals, and all sorts of things. But the thing is that Earth is intelligent. You mentioned of Christianity and Judaism, but I think all the religious believe in communication between the human being and all creatures and natures. The thing is that Earth is intelligent. No matter if you are religious or not, you cannot ignore the law of cause and effect. There is nothing random happening in the world at all. So this cause and effect shows that whatever we do, we will give the response back. This is why that Earth is so intelligent that fights back whatever we do to it, it will fight back. You said Russian, you might have seen the picture of Chernobyl with that much concrete building. And now that it is abundant, you can see that those concrete is being destructed by very nature. It was ever so hard, and they thought that nothing can do anything about it, including atomic bomb explosion at that time. But you can see that every plant is ruining it and decaying it one by one. The other fight back, I think, is the coronavirus. You can see this the smallest creature has made the human being on behalf of the Earth actually to fight back, so that this quarantine has made the global warming trend very low. So the Earth is breathing now. You can see that the ozone layer and ozone hole is being repaired, and the fighting back of the Earth by a tiny creature that all the mass of all the virus in the globe is only 5 grams. Those 5-gram creature made human being or fight back on behalf of the Earth. So in one thing is that we are losing a lot. And we are not, these things, the industrial thing, whatever it is, doesn't worth it, because we are not living all life. Very precious of life is being lost. So our consciousness, our moral, our enthusiasm, our courage, our concentration of different matter, our conception of our environment is very, very low, and it doesn't worth it. I mean, all the people who think they are intelligent have to think twice. As I'm witnessing some people who go to countryside, to rural area, and living all the luxurious life in the cities, and now they are living their life. So I think the love that you mentioned, as well as all the information in the human being, no matter if they have received any religious or not, it is encrypted in every creature, that they go for love, And it is the distraction of environment that makes us to lose it and to ignore it and go for some other things and become a slave of industry, losing our precious life and losing the precious life of others. So thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank you for Professor Das and other scholars who arranged such a nice meeting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Hamid. It's excellent. I think that you have correctly again the message that it is the love ultimately, which actually very important for all of us. And specifically, it fits very nicely for this year theme also, that is the restorations of environment. So I think that love is the one of the important matter we should nurture and culture before anything to do with in heart. A wonderful your interpretation, wonderful talk of Dr. Irina. And I will now request, I've seen one question that is from Dr. Vidya Patil. Dr. Vidya Patil, madam, Dr. Vidya Patil is an anesthesiologist. She's a professor and head of the Department of Anesthesia. Dr. Vidya Patil, you please ask the question directly here. Dr. Vidya Patil, please ask the question. Can you ask the question directly to Irina?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I hope I'm heard.
Yeah, you are audible.
No, I just wanted to know in day-to-day's life, how can we use our gadgets to the minimum? Of course, gadgets are a part of our life now. We cannot stay without them. We cannot work without them. But how to keep them minimally used, only for the work purpose? I mean, they shouldn't interfere with our other things in life, like they shouldn't come in the way of, as Irina was telling, the way of our life to experience the love of the nature. I mean, if you look at the way we are living, I mean, it's exactly interfering with the life, I feel. So how to go about this? How to reduce usage of gadgets so that we really experience what our lives are meant really for?
Thank you, Dr. Vidya. Very good question. Actually, I asked this question during the presentation to you, doctors. How can we find the balance between, because I myself am asking these questions. I can share some tips that I found for myself, especially because I can feel, as I told you, because of the heightened sensitivity, I can feel direct effect from the gadgets on my brain work. I just feel it, honestly. You don't need to do MRI scan or anything. So what I found is good for me is not to use it from certain time, like let's say from 9 p.m. to 11 a.m. I can afford it with my lifestyle. For you doctors, it might be different. You will maybe need to answer some call at 7 a.m. I don't know about that. But still, like, for example, when you're going for a walk, just leave your phone in your office. Just leave it there and just go for a walk and receive the nature directly, not through your camera, not through like posting it on Instagram and receiving likes. Just interact, and that's going to be much more rewarding than hundreds of likes that we receive after all. So yes, and maybe somebody else has any tips. I would also love to share. How can we balance the modernity with kind of this longing we have for nature? Maybe some. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you very much, Irina. And I request now Dr. Sanjay Kadlimatti, who himself is also a musical maestro. Dr. Sanjay Kadlimatti, you are here?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Yes, you are yourself is a musician. You can ask one short questions.
Yeah, thank you, Irina. It was a sensible presentation, rather, I say. You shared a wonderful experience, your experience with dance, art, and environment and humanitarian services. So I really congratulate that you did a wonderful job. So as I think you are right now staying in Kerala, right?
Yes, in
the state of Kerala.
So thank you very much. Yeah, any question?
Kerala, because from
okay, I just, yeah, there's voice is not clear, Dr. Sanjay. There's some problem. I think Dr. Atul Aire, principal of College, he wants to.
Yeah.
Is it audible?
Yes. Hello. Yes, it is
Hello?
audible. Yeah, I'm hearing. You are audible.
Is it audible?
Others are hearing.
Doctor, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All of you are hearing.
Voice is breaking.
Voice is
His
breaking.
voice is breaking. You are not audible clearly. Oh, it is. He has gone. So I request Dr. Arun C. Inamdar, sir, Dean of Faculty of Allied Health Sciences, whom I have not introduced with you, both Irina as well as Dr. Hamid Mubashiri. Dr. Arun Inamdar, sir. Professor Arun Inamdar, sir. Are you here? Professor Inamdar, sir. Professor Arun Inamdar, sir, are you here? I think I'm not seeing him, so no response. Okay, so I think that I will request Dr. Lata. Dr. Lata Mullur, you are here? Lata Mullur? Okay, I request anybody, if you want to ask a question, please ask one question. She will take one more question, and then we will go for the session conclusion. If anyone,
the structure at your IR is raising his hand.
but he's not audible. Yeah, Aru, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's a Dr. Ire.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Actually, the Dr. Hamid has.
Am I audible right now?
Yes, you are audible. Yes.
I think Dr. Hamid has touched upon the very important aspect of the environment and the climate change. And he talked about the electromagnetic and radiation. Being an environmental engineer, I do agree with those particular kind of the changes. And he mentioned about the troposphere and the stratosphere. The one thing I need to mention here, the troposphere, the CO2 concentration and the emissions are rising very, very high. And probably by 2050, we may expect the 1.5 degrees centigrade rise in temperature. But at this particular moment of time, the stratosphere where the ozone was depleting, now it is in a stabilized position. But at the same time, the stratosphere, the thickness, which is 30 to 35 kilometers, which is now decreasing. And this is nothing but the major threat to the all across the globe. And we may get some ultraviolet radiations because of maybe electromagnetic radiations are hampered by the some mobile signals or maybe the radio wave signals. And this is something important aspect which Dr. Hamid has touched upon. And that is why I'll come back to the arena now. Now she highlighted on a biophilia. It's a human connect to the nature. That is something missing. That is something missing. As an environmental engineer, I'm always connected to the nature and the environment. But most of the people, because of their maybe the job profiles or the careers or maybe kind of a lifestyle, they're away from the nature, they're away from the environment. And I must congratulate Irena for highlighting this particular biophilic concept. And I definitely, I have sent a LinkedIn request to her also, and thereby we can chat. And even if Dr. Hamid also I can interact with, because he's highly expertised in such environmental emissions and GHGs. And I'm very thrilled and thankful to Dr. Kushal Das also for getting such kind of a seminar or webinar for us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Arena, and thank you, Dr. Hamid.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. An excellent interpretation by Professor Atul Ayare. And Dr. A.M. Ramesh, sir, the CEO of KSTA DST Government of Karnataka. Dr. Ramesh, sir, can you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't have any question, but I would like to compliment Miss Irena for a wonderful talk. Art and nature, how they could be blended. Excellent talk, Miss Irena. We will be organizing many conferences and workshops in association with BLDE. For physical conference, we would request you to come and deliver a talk like this.
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
I have already, yes. Dr. S.B. Patil, our Dr. S.B. Patil, Dr. S.B. Patil, pediatric professor. Do you like to talk?
Yes, sir. The message is very clear. The message is very clear. And very nice presentation, Irina. We really enjoyed the entire coverage on the culture and the nature as well. Thank you. Thanks a lot for the wonderful message.
Thank you, Dr. S.B. Patel, sir, and thank you very much. Dr. Lata, Dr. Lata.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I couldn't unmute myself. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
just
Sir,
I'd like to,
first of
just 1 minute.
yes, sir.
I'd like to introduce Irina and Lata knows each other very well.
Yes, definitely through you only, sir. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really wonderful her talking on this day. Happy Environmental Day to all the participants here. And I'd like to congratulate Irina to present or give us this message in very different ways. She used so many means of conveying this message, like the balancing of this environment and all these things using history, culture, and so many other things. Yeah, it's definitely a good message you have conveyed. I have also grown up in the village places where after the school hours, I used to be always in the trees, river, playing in the muds. It is really wonderful to be with the nature. So as we are growing, like definitely as we are aging, we are again getting attracted by the nature, which is not so pure now. Like we have to that what you said, that biophilia, like definitely we have to bring awareness of that thing. What I feel, sir, personally, that has to be incorporated in our Indian curriculum right from the school days, which is not so much in our Indian culture. Because in our school, we always used to plant the tree and clean the environment and water the plants. Those things are missing nowadays in the school days. So I like, if I get a chance, like I would definitely like to incorporate these in school curriculum. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much. And I just saw that Mr. Kaushik Banerjee, who is the director of CBSE schools and the BLD Association. Mr. Kaushik Banerjee, you are available?
Yes, sir. I'm there. Good evening to all.
Yeah, he is the son of a very illustrious musician father. So he inherit some other things also. He is basically an English teacher and was a principal. Now he's the director of the schools under central board. Mr. Kaushik Banerjee, you can ask any questions to Irina.
Sir, good evening, Irina. It was a wonderful session and there was a wonderful interaction with you. The question that I would like to ask you today, this evening, is that coming from the European side of the country, of the world, why did you choose India to be trained into classical dancer, the Indian art dance form? Why not the other Western dance forms? That was like whether it was a Ballerian dance form or some kind of a ballet or any kind of Western dance form. Why did you choose specifically the Mohiniyattam dance form in India? What made you to compel, or what made you to choose that kind of form?
I think it's a topic for another lecture, to tell the truth. But in short, I will answer it was karma, I guess, because I was not a dancer. I liked dancing, but I always struggled I was very shy, first of all, and my shyness was my obstacle in many things, and including dance. And when I would fail, the teachers in my country are very strict. You can't imagine. They shout, they humiliate. So I couldn't handle that. So I just separated myself from all this learning process. And I came to Indian classical dance after having 2 major spinal cord surgeries, through yoga, after yoga. And I found the dance which I could dance even though I had these 2 major surgeries, because it's so holistic in nature. If in ballet, you need to be a superhuman in order to be. That's another thing. Ballet kind of represents, as we say, separation from nature. It's striving for this perfections, virtuosity, which is great. It's amazing what humans are capable of, but then it kind of creates separation from the rest of the humans who want to dance and want to dance organically. And that's what I found in Indian classical dance. It's very organic. You don't have to be jumping high. Yes.
Beautiful.
It's still a lot of training, because to be able to dance the way I dance now, it's 5 years of learning. Of course, it's not something you learn overnight, but it's something you can achieve even after 30, even after 40, and you can practice. I have some students who are 40 plus. I teach online also, and they're enjoying it and they're progressing. And that's a beautiful thing about Indian classical dance.
Thank you so much, Arina, and I'm sure that your many more, the awards will be coming and forth in the coming years down the line. Congratulations to you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kushal Das, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any question by Dr. Pradeep Malaji? Dr. Pradeep Malaji, do you like to ask any question? Any question? No, you are not audible. You are not audible. You are not audible. Okay, so I think that now time has come. We have taken so much of time. All of you are tired now, and it is.
Sir, I think Dr. Hamid has something to say.
Dr. Hamid, I think that you want to say something. So
yeah, I just wanted to thank Irina. And as the tomorrow is for youngsters, the tomorrow of world. So I would like her that I will definitely inform all my colleagues, especially the youngest student. I would like her to arrange for some channel so that they all contribute and communicate with her. I think the BLB student will have the same request to do. So among the youngsters that the future is theirs, it's better to arrange for whatever that is needed to save the world for tomorrow. So they will contact you directly after they're watching this video, and they will arrange for something.
Yes, I would love to. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. That's the purpose of the UNESCO. We are actually doing this job, and I have delivered the 2 talks in Iran under the Dr. Hamid's invitation. One is Tehran, another university, another is Shemnan University, and Shemnan University I found very similarity with the Bijapur, the place where we stay. It is said outside the desert and near to the ocean. It's a very interesting place where the plants are very few. So, and I feel that my place in Bijapur, which has dramatically changed by environmental intervention, and that is by our great honorable Chancellor of the University and President of Association, Dr. M.B. Patil. And I had actually made an arrangement of an interaction with UNESCO chair and himself. In my presence, where our Chief Administrative Officer, Dr. Kulkarni, who is the presiding over the today's function, was also there. So I think that in future we'll be more in the physically able to go if we win the war against Corona. So now I want to conclude here, and I want to hand over the 2 things to one before handing over the president of today's function, his presidential remark. There are 1 citations to be given to Dr. Ms. Irina as a distinguished speakers of today's as a certificate of honor. Anand, Mr. Anand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm ready, sir.
Yeah. So I request here Professor B.G. Mulimuni, sir. Sir, you are here. Are you hearing Professor B.G. Mulimuni, sir? Sir, you are hearing? He is the most senior professor, former vice chancellor of our university, mentor of our university, and most of us who are here, including Dean of Faculty of Medicine. Yeah.
Lockdown.
Yeah, Professor B.G. Mulimuni, sir? No, he's not able to hear. So I request the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Dr. Arvind V. Patil. Dr. Arvind Patil, you are here? Our respected Dean of Faculty.
Yes, sir, I'm here, sir.
Yeah, I request you to just officially say that what is your remark before handing over the certificate of honors to Ms. Irina Mihalkovich.
So the first thing is I learned the way of different, as Lata said, different way of conveying the message of saving the environment and the importance of natural thing. Second thing I would endorse, I spend every day 1 hour in the field. That whole day I don't feel stressed at all. That's the way which I drive in the institution. And I'm very much convinced that biophilic people are going to be this thing, will be the future energy building people working in stressful life. So I'm convinced with both the things. And we physically invite you to our university, madam, and bringing a lot of youngsters into the environmental awareness. And we would have a series of programs since our dean, sir, from the UNESCO chair. So we'd be happy to have many more programs, not just 1 program. This is a good beginning. And I thank Das sir for arranging this. And as a university, we are proud of the UNESCO thing. And as a university, we have our own chair. So I'm proud of sir. Sir, I think you are doing a wonderful job and connecting many people to the word. The youngsters will definitely learn. So thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Arvind, you please declare that you are giving the certificate of honors to Irina. Just this word.
Yeah. Anand, do you have that screen of citation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please post it.
You post it.
Yes, madam, we are very proud to be giving you this citation. And this is just a beginning of a journey. We look forward with your age. I'm surely will be impacting the world on environment, as our Hamid sir said. Together, we all can make an impact to the younger generation. And this is our honor from the university to give you this citation to you, madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Arvind.
Thank you.
My honor to be here today.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arvind.
Yes,
I now request Irina to give the certificate of recognition to Dr. Bindu Madhav. So I request Anand, please you upload the certificate of recognition.
So Dr. Kushal, you want me to present it?
Yeah, you just say about your opinion about Dr. Bindu Madhav and confer the certificate online.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Bindu Madhav. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for being the session chairman, right?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. Yes, this was a very enriching session for me as well. I hope to other audience too, because we shared a lot and everyone contributed equally to it. And thank you so much for being such an inspiration, all of you. And so I present this certificate to Bindu Madhav sir. And thank you once again from my side.
Thank you very much, Irina. Thank you, Dr. Bindu Madhav. Both of you, I will send by email as well as WhatsApp. I will send the certificate copy. Okay. So it is my job is over now. Now I will be silent. Now I will be handing over to presidential remark by President of today's function, and Dr. R.V. Kulkarni. Over to Dr. R.V. Kulkarni for final remark.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, go ahead.
Respected today's speaker, Ms. Irina, Professor Hamid Mubashiri, Dr. Bindu Madhav Indigeri, Professor Kushal Das, Dr. A.M. Ramesh, Dr. S.V. Patil, Dr. Arvind Patil, sir, Professor B.G. Mulimani, sir, former Vice Chancellor of our university, Dr. Arun Inamdar, all the principals and faculty members. Today, we are celebrating this World Environment Day with the theme that reimagine, recreate, restore the ecosystem. Practically, we have to think how much effort we have to put on this to make this theme into the realization. Ladies and gentlemen, we can only ensure good health and long life to our future generation if we protect and preserve our biodiversity. Scientists so far have estimated that there are about 8.5 million species of plants, animals are existing on the earth. But today, the earth biodiversity is in danger due to pollution, climate change, and population growth. And I just came across some statistics that for every 3 seconds, the world is losing a forest of about 70,000 square meters. And this is a very dangerous situation. And almost we have destroyed half of the wetlands. And a recent report says that about even during this COVID situation, we feel that environment is better to breathe, but the data from Central Pollution Control Board of India says that there is 45,000 tons of biomedical waste we have generated during this 1 year, which is above the generation of 132 tons. This purely 132 tons of biomedical waste is due to COVID. And we have generated a 17% of increased biomedical waste in the last year. So another point I came across, that a report in the Nature journal suggests that the greenhouse gas emissions from the food products, food systems will be reduced by a half, 50%, if we turn into the plant-based diet. And also another report says that the vegetarians can lower its carbon footprints by up to 73%. This is up to the world, how we can save or we can conserve our biodiversity. We at BLDA, Vijayapur, we have joined BLD Association, a century-old organization, had joined its hands with the Koti Vriksha Abhiyana Trust and SPPA, Society for Protection of Plants and Animals. So these three organizations are working for the betterment of conservation of the biodiversity at Vijayapur. Koti Vriksha Abhiyana is a dream project of our Honorable President to plant 1 crore trees in Vijayapur district, which was initiated in the year 2016. And by this time, we have planted almost more than 80 lakh samplings, and they were maintaining well. And another society, that is Society for Protection of Plants and Animals, is also working for the conservation of biodiversity. And our son of our president, younger son of our president, Mr. Dhruv, is the leader who is taking care of these animal adoption and rescue, and he is organizing various events. He has helped over more than 8,000 animal lives and rescued about 20 animals, adopted many animals from the zoo and all. So this is how, in a small way, we are contributing. But the theme should come into the realization. And as rightly Dr. Mubashiri has pointed out, the electromagnetic waves. Today, just 2 days before, we saw one dismissal of the writ petition filed by our one actress against 5G, which has been dismissed in the Delhi court. But don't know maybe what are the reasons. And the talk by Ms. Irina was very enlightened us. So she rightly pointed out that human dependency on nature is huge. So we are greatly dependent on nature. If we don't save the nature, it means we are digging our own graves. Thank you very much, Irina. Thank you, Professor Mubashiri, for inaugurating the session. And I thank all the participants in this wonderful event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think the time has come to conclude our presidential remarks. Thank you, IT team, very much, that Dr. Deepak and Mr. Anand Patil, who did that excellent job at, it is night at almost 9 p.m. of Indian Standard Time. So they are still here for working. So thanks to all of you. Goodbye, and wish all of you a very happy and healthy days in come forwards. Take care of your all health. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Kusal. I just wanted on behalf of the UNESCO, I mentioned that possibly it is a new approach to matter, that human being is not the king, as far as I know, to the globe. He's a guest. He's living here for only 70, 80, 90 years old, and has to appreciate his presence and his duty during this, and respect all the things that the landlord says. He shouldn't destroy the house, and should respect the right of other guests in this very building. So I think it has to be corrected to a guest, and has to respect the right of the people who are coming in future to use this very house the same way he has used, and to let them enjoy. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you,
great.
sir.
Thank you very much.
very much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night to all. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Anand, you can now stop.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anand, for excellent job. Thank you, Professor.